Internet, and welcome to another episode of My Cool Friends. If this is your first time joining us today, then let me just say, hello, how are you? There's punch and cookies on your way in through the door. My name is Benny Big. I am your host for this evening. Online leaders depend on me to guide them to bring their entire audience in together in the same room through a method that I call the EBIG Matrix, all while eliminating the heart-stopping overwhelm of technology. Today, my friends, we have a very special guest with us today. If you noticed us going live a little bit later, don't worry. Everything is under control. Our guest just ran into a little bit of jet lag, if you would like to call it that.
Yes, sir.
He is a artist among artists. He is also a duelist among duelists. I met him through a guest that we had previously on the show, and he is also a artist and musician. And today I am very excited to dive deep into this area of his life because I have known him for some time, but I have not had the chance to sit down and dive into this aspect of his creation. And so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls across the world, please help me welcome, with homemade sound effects, Mr. Donte Griffin!
Thank you, Ben. Super warm welcome. That's awesome.
Welcome to the show, Donte. It is so stupendous and wonderful to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me and my little friend here.
You have brought a fuzzy with you today. He has
Yes.
for those of you listening on audio, he has a puppy in his arms, and I have my co-host and producer Pikachu right here. And so we all have companions with us today.
That's right.
So Donte, I have, in the time that I have known you, like, we have, for those that don't know, it's like, oh man, like, what is going on here? Like, I have known you through a mutual network of people, nerds, who just love to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I have seen you at events just of raves, just absolutely being the master DJ. I have also heard that you are just an absolute artist who loves to create music.
Yeah.
Donte, what describe yourself to us first. What is the pioneer that is Donte Griffin?
Oh man, that's a good one because I try not to limit myself to one thing. That's why I say artist. I just really like creating. So if I would describe myself, I would say cool, creative, and warm. Like, come work with me, please. It's gonna be the best experience.
It's gonna be an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And what made you go down this road of creating? I find that a lot of times, like when we introduce ourselves to one another, it's like, oh, hey, I am a lawyer, I'm a doctor. And I find it interesting that you have, like, right off the bat, we are removing that disconnect. So what made you go down this road of art in life?
Art in life. It started with photography, like 2010. Really earlier than that, but I started like branding myself as a photographer and artist in 2010. And it really was just, I picked up a camera one day, and it's kind of funny. I took a camera from my parents when I was younger, and I wasn't supposed to take it out the house because, it's an expensive camera, woo-de-woo. Took it to school. I broke the little battery thing on it. And my mom was yelling at us, who took the camera? I'm looking for it for work. And I did. And look, I'm a photographer now, years later. But that didn't necessarily make me want to get into it. It's always been in me. Like, my mom was in the band growing up. My sister was choir all through her school career. My uncle teach jazz in Michigan. My grandfather, rest in peace, he was always a fan of jazz and would send me stuff. And later in life, it just brought me to creating that music. But creating's been around me all my life.
It's that very special aspect of, like, hey, we've started from nothing and now we get to create something that is very much our own.
Yeah.
And so what sort like we've gone to this like journey of like becoming an artist. What sort of what like obviously you must have had some stumbles along the way that's like, oh hey, like we like, oh hey, we're on the road, we've gone come into some speed bumps, but we've obviously still like we're still here. We're still creating art. And so what were some speed bumps that you came along the way? And how did you get past some of those speed bumps?
The speed bumps is probably building confidence and showing what you made to others, because then you
Oh.
know you got to get past of, oh, okay, I've made this and I think it's cool, but other people they might think it's not that great. So you're also you're excited to show someone, but you're also scared of what they may think. So you got to get past of what they may think and see why are you really making this. You're making this for you. It makes you feel good. It's a creative outlet. So just push that out there. And I just learned to not I'm not saying not care what other people think, but focus on what I like doing so that I can be good at it.
Mm. And how and what sort of like piece of wisdom would you say like either to your past self or to someone who's trying to learn to get past that phase of like, oh man, this is something that's very it's very precious to me,
Right.
but I want to put it out into the world. What sort of piece of advice would you give to someone who's going through that stage?
I would say patience for one, and don't take things personally, because people are going to feel the way they feel and you can't fault them for that. So don't take things personally and just stay true to yourself.
Yeah. You you've I hinted at this before the show started, but I've seen you like creating these massive like getting into these massive raves and like really getting out there.
Mhm.
And I find that that is sometimes like a huge step. Like you've worked with clients, you've worked with like so many other people. Like what's it like to like then go out there and get your first clients, and then also like what's it like to like have that experience like as an artist?
I like making people feel good, and it's cool when they come to you when they see like you doing your thing for so long by yourself, and they want to make that part of what they do. Like they want to pay for your time even. So even like getting that first client, you treat them like they're your kid. Like, oh, what do you need? I want to make sure this is
Mhm.
right for you. Any revisions you need, I'm there for it. And it's really customer service. Like you got to be great at that too when you working on
Right.
a service for someone. So I just really enjoy that feeling of having someone there and they're excited because they like what I do and they're going to get that product.
Right. Can you are you able to share any specific stories of like that for of like having that experience of like, oh man, like this was our first client and we went an above and beyond in order to get them what they needed and get them where they needed to be.
Oh man, it was kind of the other way around as far as in the sense of getting them where they needed to be. And I'll say shout out to Eliza 1K. She's a female rapper here in San Antonio. And I was working on my album and I make beats, and I was just looking for artists like, hey, like these are cool. I really like also me thinking like, oh, these are cool, hoping you think they're cool too. And I want you to work on them for my stuff because I think you're dope. So it's
Okay.
like even for them, even for her to just be like, okay, you know what, I'll give you a shot. You don't got no music out. Here's this acapella and make a remix of my stuff. And like from there, like people people see me actually like she had a little credibility, so it gave me a little more attention than just going to someone else like, oh, I make beats, because 1,000 people make beats and they probably get
Mhm.
hundreds of them in their emails. So that helped me set myself apart by getting remixes from people that are.
Ah.
Mhm.
And did you stumble into this, or was the intention that you like set out to do? It's like, oh man, like I need to set myself apart from the crowd. Like what can I do for people
Is
that will make them make it special?
to ask them, can I, like, first for one, I appreciated the song you released, right? It's doing great.
Ah.
And or even giving them a chance to release something that they may have not liked the production on. I just want the acapella and we'll make it into something new. um, so it's so many things in that kind of help you. It's they're setting you apart because they get so many emails. Like I'm saying, the beats will come. You might get 100 a day, 20 a day. from unknown people, not even saying hi. They just send you the music, not looking at what your stuff is. So what set me apart was listening to their music, seeing what they're about first, and seeing what can I add to help them. Like what can I do? I like what you're doing. I want whatever you're doing. I just want to help.
Right. I find that it's very much like that human connection that we can set up with people that like will help us like get into people's like, oh hey, like who is that guy that like really messaged us and like talked to us a lot? Like I remember that guy. What was his name? Dante? Like I
Mhm.
find like that is sometimes like what sticks in people's head, not just a couple of messages over a messaging app.
Yeah,
Is that
definitely.
does that resonate with you at all?
Definitely, because I'm reaching out. I was reaching out to and still do through Instagram, most social media, and that's just the best way to reach them rather than a cold email. They don't even see my face or what I do. So I'll reach out to them like, hey, I was listening to whatever song is out. I really like it. Um, if you happen to have the acapella, like, you mind if I like make a remix just so you can see like what I can do with it? If they don't have it, I try to ask for their engineer, get it from them, just to make it easy on them, so they don't have to go and try to find it. Um,
Right.
it's just taking the time and seeing what people are spending their time on when you're trying to work on with them.
Yeah. Time is the most valuable thing you can give to someone.
Exactly, and you learn not to waste it, and the more you the more you create.
Yeah. Uh, uh, this is a good segue into our next question. Like we're talking about like valuable time. Have there been any trials where you have worked with not just good clients but also bad clients, and how have you overcome those speed bumps?
Um, I overcome them to by just avoiding it, really, kind of
Uh,
reading situations and knowing when I should be giving my time, and not even in a rude way. If I see that, like, everybody's got to start from somewhere, right?
right.
But it's not up to me to train you. And
Mm-hmm.
when you wanting my service too, because then that's taking away time from you. You may have only paid for an hour, but now I got to spend that hour to teach you how to do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. um,
It it does make sense. Like you might be getting like a bunch of inbox questions,
mhm.
but how does someone like what would someone do in order to stand out from the crowd of people like shooting you inbox questions? Would it be like, oh hey, like could you teach me this, here's money? Or would there be a different way to stand out from the crowd other than just that?
Mm, voice memo. Send me, instead
Ah.
of texting me, like, send me your voice, like, that, just showing, you're not timid, you're not scared, you know how to talk to people and be friendly. Just say, hey, like, hey Dante, I was checking out your stuff, you're so cool, man. Like, when the next time you're at the studio, I like to come and just watch you create and be in that environment. I'm not used to being around that. I'm more likely to answer that voice memo than someone really texting me the same thing.
That because
It's more personal, really.
yeah, is it because like the personal voice, or is it because like, oh wow, that took 2 more seconds than
Both.
shooting a text?
Really both. It took 2 more seconds, and I can. There's no emotion behind text. I can kind of hear it in your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, he's excited. He really wants to do this. Let me go look at his page and see what's going on. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, come on. I'm here. We can make some beats, and then
Oh yeah, we'll
might be
we'll
a good
be at
relation.
this location at this time recording. Like, why don't you come on down and sit down and see how we do this sort of stuff?
Right. It's you got to know when to spend your when we talk about wasting time, just when to give the people those time opportunities, because then a lot of people might want to do that, but then they leave you on read when you tell them, hey, come through, and then hit you up 2 days later, hey man, my bad, blah blah blah. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you could have told me then, like I was literally waiting on you.
Right.
So it's
And
just
I have a person who I've known that like made a whole lot of money like selling like just beats.
mhm.
What was the point in your life when you realized, when you went from, oh hey, I really love like taking photos, like I really love like I really love like making these beats. Like this is fun. When was the point when you went from this is fun to aha, I can make money off of doing this and people
Yeah.
will pay me?
When people started asking me, "Hey, where can I buy your beats?" And I'm like, I didn't have a beat store, a website. I was just making them and posting them. Like, if you meet me, you get them kind of thing. But
Ah,
it was just really the people, it's kind of supply and demand. They were asking, and it was cool that they were. And I'm like, okay, maybe I really should get on this. And when I finally sold my first beat, what really made me was excited. One, they bought it, they recorded on it, and made a video. So I'm like, oh, they are dedicated. So this is great. Like, I've got all these things now with my song on it. I've been placed in a YouTube series just by someone listening to a single that I had out. That was cool.
what? Tell us more about the. Don't leave us hanging,
Yeah.
Donte. Don't leave us hanging.
Shout out to Erica. She's based out of LA. She shot this YouTube series called the LA Influencer. Um, and she liked this song that me and this guy Provinci from Maryland, and like, keep in mind, I've never met any of these people in person. That's what's kind
Right.
of cool. Most people I have the best relationships are from social media and just being a genuine person and having that convo. So she just liked it, and I linked her with Provinci. That's his artist name. And she put us on the first episode, and then she was like, "Hey, do you have any more?" So I sent her 20, and we're on the whole entire series. I got a song with Blake on there. Shout out to Black Coffee Remix. Yeah, it's cool, and that there kind of gave me a credit. Like, okay, I can use this like on my music resume. That was my
Right. And was that like, what was the whole intention behind, like, I love like diagnosing this, like what, like you went from like, oh hey, like, oh wow, this person like actually really wants, like, hey, like, how's it going? Uh, what was like, I love diagnosing like the intention. Like, was it ever like to sell something, or like was it like wholeheartedly just, oh hey, this person really wants my help.
Right.
Here's 20 more.
Every artist wants to make money, but then it's like you also don't want to stress about making money because it's taken away from you creating.
Mm-hmm.
That might be in your work, making you depressed, all kind of stuff. But you still, that the art kind of separates that from your mind, kind of coexisting there. But it's, man, I kind of lost my train of thought there. I was
No,
just
no. Yeah, I'll help you get back on. Let's get the caboose back on the track a little
yeah.
bit, like, because I know what you're talking about, like, because I've been having this conversation a lot with my other trivia people, the other show that I host, Trivia Murder Party. We've been having this conversation a lot where, like, almost like the best way to sell is by not selling. And that almost sounds like what you did here. Like, a lot of artists focus on like, oh hey, how can I make money off of my music? This guy Donte just did it and he wasn't even trying. And it sounds
Nobody
like,
wants to be sold. Nobody likes a salesman.
yeah, and that's sort of like the secret of what it sounds like you did, was that you just did it because someone needed help. And it's like, wow, this guy Donte was really willing to help me. How can I have more, please? Like, is that sound, you're nodding your head, does that sound familiar? Does that resonate with you?
You hit it on the nose, and it's like I kind of separate being an artist and a fine artist, just because fine artists will try to put their stuff in galleries and really work on presentation, to where this artist, or whatever you want to call it, not a fine artist, will really try to, okay, I'm gonna make this and I can make $200 off of this. Okay, I'm gonna make another and I'm gonna try to make $50 because I need $50 right now. But then you get lost on why you're creating this. So, well, I'm making it because I want to make money. But really, like, where's the feeling in that? You know, like, what's special about this? Like, is it a hustle, or do you really like doing this?
Right. And I've joked about this too, because I've seen like videos on TikTok of people who own the gallery, and it's like, oh hey, here's how you can make money off of a fine arts degree. It's like, hey, like, put a portfolio together like of your art and then like show it to someone who owns a gallery. It's like, this is my art. It's like, so I can like I can put this up here, and then that will make like $2,000, and then I will pay this person like $1,500 for that portrait. It's like, and that's absolutely feasible, but that's like, so what you're like defining as like fine arts.
Finding you also got to find where to put your stuff to want to, like, where people want to buy it, like who are you shopping your stuff to, that might be.
Right.
So I was like, well, maybe artists is not my way to, if I really wanted to make money, artists is not the people I need to be pitching my stuff to. Maybe I should maybe talk to video game designers, commercials, like HEB needs, the grocery store needs music on their commercials. So it's
Yeah.
like, how can I contact you?
Yeah, like I think you and me were talking at one point, like, oh, like Ben has a show, like shows have music at the front of them, like those people need music, of course. And weren't we like, we're gonna be like going back at the beginning of my memory now, but weren't we talking about like some video game that what like needed,
it was Yu-Gi-Oh. It was one of your dang.
There was a Yu-Gi-Oh emulator that needed, that's like not the main one, but like one of the fan-made Yu-Gi-Oh emulators.
Yeah, shout out to Blake. He sent me the video that he said, Donte, you could do this. And I'm listening to the beat, and I was like, dang, that does sound like me.
Yeah, so someone had music at the back in the background of this game, like a fan-made Yu-Gi-Oh emulator, and Blake said like, Donte, this sounds like your music, and you're like, this does sound like my music. Where are these people? How do I contact them? Like, I could send them more music.
Exactly.
And like there's so many video games that come out right now. Like, it's like, even as like a nerd that keeps up with that stuff, like there's tens of dozens of them that I have no idea like what they are. And that's something that you could absolutely do. Like, hey, like, you're developing something right now, like, can I send you some music like that you might be interested in for your game? And that, like,
you gotta know how to present yourselves to ask those questions too.
Yeah. And like, again, time is the most valuable thing. Like, they'll all say like, oh yeah, absolutely. Have there been any other, like, I have to tell you now that we're on this, now that we're on this tangent, have there been any other like new stories like that where you've just found something like we did that one day and it's like, I could help these people out. Let me send them something.
Yeah, definitely. Let's take Spotify, for instance. My friend Echo, who went to high school with him, he sends me Spotify songs all the time. And Spotify, under your bio, if you're an artist, you have your Instagram. So I was like, let me look at their Instagram and see if I can talk to him. I really like this song. And I'm like, oh, he only has 2,000 followers. He doesn't seem that, not reachable. But that's a whole nother conversation. Like, nobody's unreachable. Just shoot a message. That's kind of insecure thinking that you're thinking of. But it was an artist called Free Party. They're based out of Maryland. And I just reached out to him. Hey, my friend sent me your song. I really like it, actually. And do you have any vocals that I can work with? Like, I like to make something. And he actually sent me something back. Oh, yeah, I'm on my way to LA. I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. My team listened to what you sent us in the samples. We really love it. So, yeah, we'll work on it. And, like, that gets you excited when you think someone's not going to answer. But because, like, they got 1 million views on Spotify or whatever. But, you don't know what they got going on in their lives. It's music.
Right, that's sort of the voices in our own head, like, oh man, like, this dude got 10,000 views on so and so platform.
Don't let the views scare you. Just reach out.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, like, they all have an inbox. Like, they all need the same things that you need.
Yeah, don't be scared to reach out, because they will definitely answer if you reached out genuine enough. I be sending pictures, voice memos. Oh man, you hear this? I'm bumping this right. Oh, oh man, this is awesome. Oh, I did this right here. Oh, actually, I even if it's Yu-Gi-Oh, a lot of people like Yu-Gi-Oh. I might notice on your page, and you're this big artist. Hey, I got a Yu-Gi-Oh page if you want to check it out. Oh man, we should do it sometime.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just, don't be scared to reach out to people just because they have a certain following and you feel like they won't talk to you back because of that. just be nice.
Right. And like what you're talking about is like the sort of strategy that you mentioned, like, oh hey, how does someone reach out to me? Like that very much like 2 seconds of like, oh hey, look at their page. Like what do they like, what do they have? What are their interests? Like if someone was to do that with you right now, it's like I would like find this interview and then I would look and see like, oh hey, like I would see that there's a Pikachu in the background.
Yeah.
But I would also know that personally that, oh, that's not just any Pikachu, that's like the like Galarian like fat Pikachu.
That's
That's
the
like, oh
VMAX one.
yeah, that's the Gmax one, like that. Oh, that's like the giant Pikachu. Like, all right, so now he does like Pokemon, he probably plays like Sword and Shield. Like, oh hey, maybe he has a Switch.
That's right.
So like, oh hey, then like, oh hey, I could like get Donte a gift. Like, oh hey, get him a Switch game, and then I can send that to him. It's like, oh hey, I'd really love to work with you.
Look,
Here's like,
boy, I
here's
would
this
love you.
special gift.
I would love you. I've only had one fan send me something, and this is the first fan gift I've ever got. This
Yeah.
dude made a Clay MF Doom. He's a producer artist. Clay MF
Oh.
Doom, and he was like, "Oh, I see you make music. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you do. Shout out to Chance. I based out of Austin."
Oh.
And he made that, and I was like, "Man, you made that and reached out, dude. I'm gonna be your friend forever." Like,
Yeah.
if artists did stuff like that and just wanted to want to work with me, like they don't even talking about spending money yet. Like I'll be like, shoot, I'll do it for free. Like you give me like what? Let's just make this music. But it's
Yeah.
really how you talk to people, man. Be a people person. Don't act like you're trying to get something off of them to better yourself. Just be genuine.
Just give. Just to
Mm-hmm.
give.
And I'm not
What?
saying give your stuff out for free either, but I'm saying
No.
give a piece of yourself. Not too much though.
No, but you like it. This circles back to the beginning of our conversation too. Like you put a piece of yourself into your music,
Mm-hmm.
and you're you're putting that out there, and so it's fair to say like you step into this like art area, you're already giving a part of yourself out there to the public. You have already stepped into that like form of giving.
Yeah.
And so like it's almost like one of my mentors like talked about like the art of like, oh hey, give without an expectation of knowing when you will receive.
So it's just I like that. That's nice. And that's going back to like not wanting to get something from them just because you're giving them something. That's like a birthday gift. Like just because I got you a birthday gift don't mean you have to get me one now. I really wanted to get you this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's gonna this will fold back into our conversation, which is like how I asked Blake this question, and I want to ask you this question as well. Has there been a point in your life where you where as you evolved as an artist, you surrounded yourself with more and more artists,
Mm-hmm.
and then you noticed yourself like becoming a better creator, becoming a better musician when you surrounded yourself with more and more musicians?
That definitely happened because that's a reason why I partner with Artist Musicians Hub. For the longest, I've been working solo right here on my desk, looking out the window. Oh, my beats are tight, but it's only me here and Annie and my wife. So we think it's tight. But just for them, I went one day just to go and cook up. Like I booked a session and they liked me. And it was like, how do you feel about like being a producer here? Like you can come cook up whenever you want. You can work with us to bring your clients in. You have a space to work, and it's amazing. We got 3 different studios you can work in. It's like a shopping center. It's not at anyone's house. Like it's nice. It's definitely an experience to be around artists 24/7 coming in and out the door. Whether you just be working on your own stuff. 5 artists might come through that I get a chance to show them my beats when I'm just at home doing nothing sometimes. And I might
Wow.
make a sale just by someone walking in and hearing me work in the back.
Wow. And like that's that's insane because I think about this like that first phase that you talk about. It's like, oh yeah, it's like what we're doing is amazing, but it's just us here. And me,
Mm-hmm.
myself, and I think we're amazing.
Yep.
But then like once you transform that circle into like, oh hey, like we made a couple of tweaks here, and now we're even more amazing. Like then that's when then that's what you're talking about. Like, oh hey, like just to pass it in the hallway, like someone thought our stuff was really cool.
That's really nice when someone just hears it and comes back. Hey man, that's tight. What you working on? I'm like,
It's like
ooh, that makes me feel good. Let me keep doing this.
it's like people pulling a Fraser crane in the kitchen. They think our beats are
Exactly.
really cool.
Yeah. And it's I've been with them for about past 90 days, but it's not too long though, at least 4 months. Um, and it's been great. Like even tonight, I'm gonna go support one of our artists that's on the team. They have a show, and shout out to Apollo Black. He's got a show tonight, so I'm gonna go check him out. Um, it's just it's important to surround yourself around other creatives that are, I would say, surround yourself with people that are like-minded and creative. If you
Mm-hmm.
work with too many artists that don't have the same drive as you kind of like and if you're nice, you're trying to pull them up with you, but it's taken away
Right.
from your drive. It's like it's kind of selfish, kind of, but it's better for you to surround yourself that are serious in what they're doing. They put in the hours, and we all respect each other as artists. So it's better to do that than just surround yourself with just any artist who's just getting started. Like if it was just me and five me's from 10 years ago, I'll be mad at myself. I'm like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? You don't have a website up? How people finding your music? What are you doing over here? You just sitting there playing games. You could have put your album out. How come you don't have this registered? And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I just want to create and focus on people that want to work with me.
You need a few people that are like a few steps above the ladder so you can like get that motivation to climb as well.
Yeah. And that's just having confidence in yourself, like I like teaching when it calls for it. Like if I'm in a situation where someone's like, "Oh, that's cool. How did you do that?" "Oh, yeah, like you use Elijah too, right?" Like I can show him a shortcut and he'll get the shortcut. Then rather than me like, "Oh, all right, then let's this is a doll." And what a doll is like, that's totally different than just giving a tip and teaching.
Yeah, it's the showing them how to fish.
Yeah, that's the one.
You mentioned you're gonna be you're gonna be going out with Apollo
Yeah.
and like going to a event. What sort of I'm personally interested to know this. What sort of challenges come with setting up for a show, like a big sort of production show
Ooh,
out
man.
out in the field versus the comfort of your own home when you're like me when I've got my whole studio set up here, like a nice remote podcast versus
Mhm.
out in the field where it's like, all right, anything that can go wrong might go wrong and probably will go wrong.
That's a great question for Blake because he threw his own showcase. But I've thrown my own release parties. I had my photos in galleries, and just throwing an event itself and making sure your staff's there to help is a challenge alone. And as far as getting everything ready, making sure people are comfortable, like it's exhausting, dude. It's a job. And if you're not treating it as a job, it's not a good event. Like you got to take the time to make sure everything's right. But there might be times where things go wrong. But what's the most difficult part is I would say promoting
Ah,
is probably the most difficult part, and just being creative with it, because anyone you could post a flyer, but what's going to make people want to come out? Like how are you going to make this engaging for someone to be like, oh, I got to go do that? And you either do the legwork and just genuinely go out to people and say, hey, I'm Donte, I got an event coming this weekend, we're throwing a show. And it's just that's more personal. But I can't imagine just, you can pay for advertising. That's stressful enough. You got to have a budget to do that, even if you want
mhm.
to do it. And it's the bottom line is throwing an event's difficult, and don't do it last minute. If you want to throw an event, showcase, show, whatever, plan. Planning is very important. Knowing and figuring out what obstacles might happen, so that way if they come to you during anything that you're throwing going on, you have a solution quick so that there's no problems. It's a lot. And I when I do one, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this for like a month. I need a break. I need to go do something that I want to do. But it's fun when it's successful. Like, hey, I did this, and that's a whole different feeling in itself when you throw an event and you see everyone enjoying themselves, talking to
Nice.
people, networking. That's the best part.
It is. It really is.
Mhm.
I one of my old mentors would refer to like she had a name for every single group, every single type of person within a team, and one of them, I'll never forget this. She called this person the black hatted person, and
Mhm.
it's the person that is just always saying in the boardroom that like, but what if this thing catches on fire? But like, oh, you want to do pyrotechnics, but what if something catches on fire? Like the
Do
person
we have a
who's
license for that? Are we allowed to
do
have this here? Like,
yeah, it's like, do we need
what?
a license? Are we allowed to have this? Like, but what? Like, I don't think that exists. But what if it does,
You
and you
know,
don't know it? Go Google that.
you need
Like
that
the
person in the room to ask those questions, and that's a part of the planning. Have those meetings
yeah,
with your team. Get a team for one.
right. And that person is always gonna piss off every person in the room. But you need to have that person.
Right. Yep. And sometimes if you don't have that person, be that person if you feel it in you. Like if you see something's wrong, you got to speak up.
Yeah.
Especially if you're part of the team, you got to speak up.
Well, are you planning any sort of future events?
Um,
Is there something that we should be promoting right now? Link, link, nudge, nudge.
right now I'm promoting my album. No event,
Oh,
just as that. Yep, I'm promoting my album. It's called Ugly Season. Shout out to all the ugly ones out there. We're all beautiful. And that's just the idea. Beautiful music. Everyone don't think of people as ugly, but like I love you because you're ugly type stuff, kind of ugly cute. But it's a great album, great listens out on all platforms. No events though, but if you want to find out, I'm Donte, Dont3 if you don't know me on all social media. Yep.
spell Don't3.
Yep.
Dante Griffin on all social medias.
Mhm.
What's it like? Like we talked about the event, the special English is hard today. Oh my. Uh, we talked about like events wise. Um, what's it like coming up with a whole album and like use this one as your example? Like, what's it like coming up with the creative process of like creating this album that you're about to release?
um, it's a long process, man, when you're part of the full production, from making the beat to recording it to mixing or editing, mastering, make sure the sounds great. Just all of that alone, then getting the master, the artwork, the if you're working with multiple artists, man, you got 10 songs, that's 10 different people you have to worry about, and getting all their stuff aligned to get the stuff you need. It's a journey, man. It can take as little as 5 days to a year.
Oh,
So it's also how intentional you want to be with your work too. Is, oh, I really want to make this great, and I don't want to release
oh,
nothing else after that. I'm gonna work on better music when I release this. um so it's a strategy, and for me, dropping that album was, I had to top my last one, which I thought was great, and I think this one was even better, and that last one was Felt Cute Delete Later. um Another compilation album. I made all the beats, mixed and mastered myself, and those are just a year apart. So you see, like, how long it takes and getting everything together. So, yeah.
yeah. I love how you use the word intention.
Hmm.
Like, oh hey, when you're going on this journey, what like what's the end result that you want?
Yeah,
And is it just to put something out there? Or is it to invoke a feeling
yeah.
within someone?
Definitely invoke a feeling, and ever since I was able to see myself on a YouTube series, I'm like, man, I'm really making music that's for like certain situations, and I'm making feelings. People want to like put this on a certain scene, so I'm like, oh, I need to start working on that kind of music. How does this make you feel? Type
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and yeah, I want to be in movies, games, anything that involves feeling. That's the intention. I want you to feel something when you listen instead of like, oh, that's a cool song. I was hoping for no skips when you go through the whole thing. It's just really, I just wanted you to enjoy it. I'm not, when you put out, at least for me, when I put out an album, I'm not looking to like, oh, I put out this album, I need to make some money back for this, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm spending more money on making the music than I'm getting it back right away. Unless I sell a beat, the more money I make is in beat selling. But that's a different story.
Yeah. Going in with intention.
Hmm.
Um, I wanna allow some time and like give the floor to you, Dante, because I know we talked a little bit in the pre-show that you wanted to pass over some questions to me as well.
Yeah, that's right. It would start with my cool friends. I had asked that in the pre-meeting. And outside of dueling, this is my first time experiencing something else that you do, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
what really made you want to start with like, okay, I want to interview my cool friends? Like, how did that idea start?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I did a gaming YouTube channel a long time ago, and I said like, you know what, I want to start doing YouTube again.
Hmm.
And I said like, how what am I gonna do? Like, I want to, I want to do a show. Uh, and I knew that like I wanted to like put out content on a regular basis. And of course, with my lazy brain, am looking for the easiest possible way to do something. And so, what can I like? What's the best possible way to me put out content on a regular basis? I don't want to come up with a like different idea every single week. That will be horrible. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do a show, and I'm gonna do a show like this because I can just simply take it and then put it over onto other platforms like iTunes and all that stuff.
Right.
And then like, oh, now we don't have to do like different stuff for different platforms every single week. I can it's just one thing that I can do. Wonderful. Uh the problem that I ran into was that I am a socially awkward nut. Uh and I don't want to just talk to myself to a microphone every single week because it will end up being weird.
Mm.
Um
One of
However,
those I
the
think
my
is cool.
solution to that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Also, it's one of those I think is cool things.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna just like be talking, and then I'll just like be socially awkward and talk about the same topic that I think is cool every single week. How do I like circumvent this? Um, and my idea was that like, oh, I know, I will start an interview show. It's like, excellent. Now, piece of paper. What shall I call this interview show?
Hmm.
I'm gonna be interviewing my friends.
Look, at least
My
you planned. Look at you. You planned. You wrote out what you had to do first.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna interview my cool friends. Wonderful. We'll come back to that later.
All right.
And we never did.
It happens like that sometimes, like
Yeah, it's
especially
like
when you do a lot of things.
it's like, all right, my cool friends. We won't stress about the name. I swear to God, like I did a couple more shows before this. This isn't my first show. Um, I stressed about the name. I just wrote something that was like my cool friends. Excellent. I was part of a like huge like online mentoring coaching program, and so I had a vast Rolodex of people that did incredible things. I said, I'm gonna interview those people. I'm gonna like open up my Rolodex. I'm gonna sit down with them, and I'm gonna start interviewing them. And I then opened up my massive phone and I just started texting people. It's like, hey, do you want to be a part of my interview show? And they said, sure. And I swear at one point, we had 3 months of people booked straight out.
Ooh, yeah, that's how it is. They see something, they saw it, and they saw the
Yeah.
vision that you drew out for them. Hey, do you want to be a part of this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's also the way I presented it. It's like, oh, hey, like, do you want like first I got one person. It's like, oh, hey, do you want to be a part of this? Like, absolutely. Like I support everything you do, Ben. And then I slowly started to like climb the ladder of people. It's like, do you want to be part of this? We got so and so on the show. It's like, sure. And then like, do you want to be part of this? We got so and so. It's like, and it's like, hey, do you want to be a part of this? We got so and so who's made $1 million online. It's like, whoa, really? I don't know who that is, but that's important. I'll be a part of this. And then we've climbed the ladder more and more. It's like before we've had like huge, massive people
Yeah.
on here. It's like, and how'd you do that? It's like little steps at a time. And I've even like I've heard of people doing this before where they like did it in like a matter of like just an hour where they said like, hey, do you want to be on our show? No, I've never heard of you before. And then they called the person back like, hey, we've already scheduled so XYZ people. It's like, how'd you do that? It's like I climbed the ladder. I called all these people before, like little by little they all said yes.
Everybody wants to know how you do it, but they don't want to see. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
to take the time to do when you give them the instructions.
Yep.
But that's
uh
good, man. Have you ever felt like during that process, did you have any like too many at one point too many people asking to be a part of it to where you had to either put them way far in the schedule or decline?
I don't think we've ever had a too many issue. We've had at times where like I am now like training my assistant in order to do the like scheduling. So like the thing that I was so good at, I now need to like pass the torch in order to other people
All right.
so that I can like look, I'm very good at something, but again, time valuable. I can't do everything. And so now I'm not only like teaching other people like, oh hey, this is what I say, this is how I do it. This is like this is the confidence and the mindset you should have when doing it because that's important. And we're also starting to do like now that I've used all that to get confidence in front of the camera and all that, we're doing more solo episodes. So we don't have to have someone scheduled every single week. And then that presents more me in front of the camera, which is the good thing.
Yeah,
But no, we've never had an issue where there's like, oh, like the calendar is full sort of thing. Um, we yeah, that's never been a thing that has come up. We've always able to like we're able to work around things.
that's good. And I like the way you have it set up too. It's real professional, like from the
Thank you.
point of being invited, filling out the questionnaire, just so you're prepared, and
Yeah,
putting on a Google Calendar. There's even a Zoom link in the calendar, so when it starts. And this whole platform that you're using right now is crazy. Like this, yeah. Talk to Ben if you need some help setting up a live show. This is cool.
yeah. Wait, I don't know. I gotta get back on my thought train.
No,
Um, But oh yeah, I know what I was gonna say. So the forum that I have people fill out beforehand, a lot of times when they are interviewed on shows, they're basically like they already have something filled out. Like they
mhm,
already have a sheet where like, oh hey, well like we're gonna have like so and so celebrity on like the Ellen DeGeneres show. They would
right,
have a piece of paper that they would hand Ellen and say like, all right, this is everything you need to know about the person. Like thoughts, likes, dislikes, questions you should ask them, and so on and so forth. Like ask them this, don't ask them this. Like excellent.
mm,
Like people will also call it a one sheet.
all
For
right.
shows where like excellent, everything I need to know. Thank you. Um, if you ever watch like late night talk shows, like all those questions that they're asking are pre-assigned to them. Like they've come up with that and they have been told that by the celebrity beforehand a lot of times. Uh, the form that I fill out a lot of times that is designed to pull that out of you,
Right.
where it's like, oh hey, I don't usually have this, but I will pull that out of you and then pull the questions out of you and then come up with something beforehand. And a lot of times like I will have my pre-show where I sit down with the person, say, hey, don't like say this, don't say this. Is there anything that you want to be asked? Is
Right.
there anything that you don't want me to talk about on the show, and then we roll from there.
All right, that's cool. The reason I asked that last question was because I also film. I
Mm.
shot a few music videos, and I started this kind of tiny dish-ish vibe where I invite local artists to come and perform a live set of one of their songs, a live version of their songs, record it and film them recording it so that we can post it on social media. And we had a
Oh.
name for it. And when they put it out, I put out a promo. And one of my homies was the first one. I was like, "Hey, since we're close and we make music, can you be the first episode just so I can have a promo reel for people to get excited for it?" So I put that out, and dude, so many artists want to do it, and I had to fill out a sign up sheet with Google. So I was learning like how can I set this up to where I'm not overwhelmed because it's just me filming and doing this. So
Yeah,
it was too many people asking to where I'm like, okay, I can't do this. Like I'm literally gonna be here every day if I try to get to everybody, and I can't do that.
I did. I'll tell you. So I could help you with setting up that stuff.
Okay.
Uh, that's easy. Uh, very easy for me. I can tell you that there have been times with the forum fill out where I think this has happened only once, where I looked at the forum fill out and I used that as basically a filtering system as well.
Okay.
So I mentioned how I used that as like a one sheet. A one sheet tool. It's like, this gives me the information that I need in order to interview the person. Excellent. And now I will pull the questions from there and interview the person. Uh, Once and only once was there a time where I had someone say like, "Oh, hey, would you like to be on the show? We would be interested in having you." And they said yes. They filled out the forum, and their answers for the forum were not great.
Mm.
And so we kindly told them that like, "Hey, we appreciate you. However, like we are going to decline having you
Mm.
on the show." And like that info is what we needed in order to get them in order to get that point. Also, um nonchalantly, them filling out the forum is our way of confirming whether or not they will actually show up for the show.
Right.
Uh,
That's good.
uh
That's good too.
which and some people a lot of people have asked me like there's a program out there called Calendly. Um if you've heard of it, it's basically like you sign up for it and it gives you a virtual calendar. Uh and a lot of podcasts and shows will use this, and it's like, "Oh, hey, like Ben's available on Wednesday at 3 p.m. to have an interview. Cool. I'll pick that time. I'll sit down with him and we can record this." Uh, I don't use that.
Mm.
Um, and there's a couple reasons why I don't use that, but the biggest one is that it's a little too convenient. If you sit down and it's like, Dante gave 5 minutes out of his day to sit down and write in this forum. Therefore, I know he's serious about showing up for this thing. Excellent.
Facts. Because people, if you're gonna spend your time on it, you'll definitely know if they fill that out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's so where there's any was there a response to you declining the interview due to their response?
Was like
If
how
there
so?
was like, oh, why aren't you when you said why you didn't want to have them on the show, did they say anything back?
Uh I just put I just word things in a very polite
Hmm.
um I word things in an extremely polite way. Uh, Sometimes people will call it like HR speak. Uh, where I won't say it exactly as like, "Oh, hey, there isn't enough information here for me to make a show." Like that's not what I said. I said like reasons were because of like vulgarity or something. Um, but I'll word in a very polite, like a very extremely polite way. And he said like, "Okay." Um, I've published enough to a point where I'm not worried about offending someone.
Okay. Hey, that's it's. I mean, if you're polite, it's
Right.
that you did your job. And I was just wondering because I've had backlash to declining to work with someone.
Right. You have to keep in mind also, like, it's my show. I'm offering an opportunity to someone else. And so, like, the privilege is all theirs. And that's sort of the thing, like, oh, you're offering an opportunity to work with someone for, like, this incredible thing, and they're reaching out to you. The privilege is all
Mhm.
theirs.
Yeah.
And so, like, oh, so they fill out a little form, and you get to see if they have like if you get to see if they are, like, up to snuff, basically, if for, like, working with you. And I say up to snuff, really, we have really extremely low standards. Um that's not, we're not asking much here. Like, that's like, we're like low standards, like, just polite. We appreciate your time, however, we have decided to go with someone else. Like, something as
Very
simple
polite.
as that. They'll just say, like, okay, thank you, like, they should say, like, oh, hey, thank you for looking over my stuff. Like that should be their response.
I feel like I get different types of responses just because I don't want to say it's a stereotype, but there is a lot of aggressive people in the music that I work
Right.
with. So if I were to even be polite, they're just like, "What do you mean? No, man, forget you, man. And then they go to talking bad about me, and I'm like, I just didn't want to work with you because I don't have the time. And
Right. And I think that's a sign that you may have made the right decision.
yeah, exactly. Like that's good you haven't dealt with that. But then again, you're kind of making your lane to where you don't have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's important. You got to kind of control things and not look like you're controlling them.
Dante, where can people find you?
You can find me at home all the time playing Yu-Gi-Oh. No, I'm just playing.
Don't do that. Don't
You
show up. Like,
can-
500 listeners show up to your house. We
really,
were told to find you here.
really. You see the link tree that's on my Instagram. So if you follow me on Donte, Dont3, Dont3 underscore underscore, but you will find me with just Dont3 with the Monster Reborn. It's blue Yu-Gi-Oh. If you're a fan. Find me on Instagram mostly. That's where I'm most engaged. I'm not really on Twitter, but I'm on there. But yeah, find me on there on all platforms: Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, Apple Music, Amazon. Check me out. I hope you enjoyed the music, and there's more coming.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, go follow Dante on all of his platforms. That is Dont3. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another amazing episode of My Cool Friends. We'll be live next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 2 p.m. for Trivia Murder Party. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to stay safe and stay healthy.
There, man.